Hello, today I'm in Hampden, Maine, USA, and visiting another historic cemetery. This one is right in the middle of town. You can actually see the main street ahead of me. And today I wanted to specifically focus on the mausoleums, the large actual above ground tombs. So basically, mausoleums first came into play in ancient Egypt, and they enjoyed a resurgence in popularity in the 1800s, and then as the 19th century became the 20th century, the early 1900s, they were something that people were very interested in. This first one, I don't know who's entombed inside. I'm a member of the Maine Old Cemetery Association, and their website simply calls it the Sanger Tomb on the map. So obviously it's the Sanger family. You can see on the front here their last name, and it's very cool because it's covered with those vines. Later on in the summer, those vines will actually hang in front of the name Sanger, but for now you can read it. And there's the steel door, so I'm thinking because of the construction, it's probably the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, as we keep walking through the cemetery, I do have a little bit more information on the other three larger mausoleums here than I did on the Sanger one. So we'll just kind of walk along and I'll show you what those ones look like. It's actually a pretty large cemetery. It is about the biggest one, I would say, in Hampden. There is a Lakeview Cemetery in West Hampden that's just about the same size, I would say, but a different type of layout. But I think overall, by a margin, this would be a larger one. And you can see all the old historic graves. We do have some newer ones in the back, but these are the 1800s, early 1900 ones. The trees are amazing here. Big, tall, look very Halloweenish. But you can see over the horizon the largest mausoleum here in this cemetery. And it actually took me a while to figure out who was entombed inside, because these old mausoleums are famous for having the last name on the front, but not always the first names. And I knew it belonged to the Frost family, so you do have Frost on the front. I will show you in a minute as I approach it. But it didn't have the names. Now, the patriarch of the prominent Frost family here in Hampden was Ivory Frost. So I thought it was probably him, but I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was one of his sons, so I couldn't find where he was buried. But being a member of MOCA, I did figure out that it actually is the tomb of Ivory Frost and his wife Sarah. This is an amazing tomb, really. It's probably about 20 feet high. It's still in pretty good shape. Got an iron door on it. I'll walk around it here just to kind of show you what it looks like. You can see the venting built into it. Allows air in and out. Very solid, like fortress-like. And this one is on the map as the Ivory Frost tomb. You can walk right up to the steps and up to the door. Big padlock on it. But this is an amazing final monument. A little bit of history on it. Ivory Frost was born in 1816 in Kittery, Maine, and he died in 1874 in Hampden. His wife was Sarah née Ricker Frost. She was born in 1823 in Dixmont, Maine. She died in 1898, so she outlived her husband by just about 24 years. They had 10 children, and most of those children are scattered throughout this cemetery as well. Ivory was a farmer, and then later on he was a wholesale ice salesman, which an ice business doesn't really sound very lucrative today. But back then, of course, they didn't really have refrigeration, or what they did have of it was very primitive. So being able to go to an ice wholesaler was probably pretty valuable back then. And again, this man passed away in 1874, so well over 100 years ago now. So I'm sure he made a pretty good profit. His children all were wealthy, as far as I could tell. So we'll say goodbye to Ivory and Sarah Frost for now and walk up the hill a little bit, where we're actually going to visit one of his daughters. Very peaceful old cemetery. The whole thing is really on a large hill. You can see how it kind of slopes down and then works its way back up. This is another one I kind of walked and documented on Find a Grave last year. However, at that time I was looking just for grave requests for photos. And now when I walk a cemetery, I don't care how long it takes. I'm trying to get every grave and make sure they're uploaded if they haven't already been. So we'll visit this one in a minute. But just because I'm looking at the frost tombs, I want to drop in on the other frost tomb here. So this is the other frost tomb, and again, it took me a little bit because it only has the last name on the front. But at least one person interred here is Ms. Laura Edna Frost. Now, she is the daughter of Ivory and Sarah, who we just visited. And this is significantly shorter. This is about maybe 7 or 8 feet tall and probably about as wide. But Miss Laura Edna Frost was born in 1859 and she died in 1914. I remember researching it last year when I was walking this cemetery, and I could be wrong, but I think what sticks out in my mind is she died from tuberculosis, which 1914 would be about right. It was raging. That was around just before World War I, and tuberculosis was a big deal. They called it consumption as well, but same idea. It's a very interesting tomb. You have sort of this flower shape on the door, which you can see sort of some remnants of vent in there. It's that was meant to sort of screen out insects and the wind and snow and stuff like that. That's deteriorated over time, but you can still kind of see the remnants. Very cool old mausoleum here. It's built into the side of the hill. 111 years old, at least Edna, her burial was. I don't know who else is interred here. There's 2 sides to it, so I would assume another relative, not 100% sure. The last one I want to look at, go back up this steep little hill here, is roughly probably about the size of Laura Edna Frost's tomb. And same trend here. The last name is on the outside, but I wasn't sure who was buried here. It simply says, erected to the memory of our mother who departed this life January 4 of 1860, age 67 years. So you see the big L-O-W, Low, last name. And upon researching, this is the final resting place of Mercy Lowe. Her maiden name was Wardwell. She was the wife of Daniel Lowe, Esquire, and the mother of Frederick Ferdinand Lowe, who actually became a congressman from California. Even though he's born here in Winterport, Maine, he ended up a California congressman. This is his mom, and he had a brother named Horace D. Lowe. So pretty interesting. Miss Lowe has been interred here since before the Civil War, actually. So very nice marble door on there. It's actually held up remarkably well over time. What, 164 years now? So that door looks probably as sturdy as the day it was assembled. So, and it's probably been locked since the day it was assembled, the day she was interred. So you can kind of go around here. This is another family's burial plot, but you can kind of see the side of it. It's a very short structure. It's probably about 7 feet long, and I'm not sure how deep it goes into the ground, but if I'm 5'9", this is probably about 5'6", at least from the ground level. So other side of it here, and the back. So sturdy old roof that survived 165 Maine winters. So they don't make them like they used to, apparently. But, and just kind of walking back to the Frost one, it's almost identical, the roof. So they clearly had specific styles that they used back then. And just to show you over there, gonna zoom in a little bit. You can kind of see the shoulders on the back of that grave, which is the style of the late 1700s, early 1800s. where it's white. I don't think it was the 1700s, and I don't think this graveyard cemetery technically goes that far back. But you know what? Now my curiosity is piqued to close out the video. Let me just take a quick look. Not too far off from the 1700s, but sacred to the memory of Miss Lydia, second wife of Colonel Daniel Emery, who died January 8th, 1828, age 24. His first wife, Elmira C. Emery, wife of Daniel Emery, died December 18, 1883. And then Mr. Emery himself, Daniel Emery, died August 10, 1864, age 71. So, some of the very old styles here of graves. Hope you enjoyed.